Crisscross, pulling floss, needle thread from black to red, pink, navy green, and in between, snuggles my brain. I'm Stitch Me Sane.
Hello Flosstube, my name's Carla and welcome to my channel at Stitch Me Sane. You can also find me on Instagram and TikTok. Today is Flosstube number 14. It's Wednesday the 27th of September here in Melbourne, Australia. And this is a channel where I share my love of all things cross stitching. So welcome to any new subscribers. I've had a few since I filmed last time, so thank you very much. And welcome to any returning subscribers. I am today going to show you my progress that I have made basically over September. I filmed at the end of August, so we're sort of at a month. Things have been a little bit slow because it's been school holidays last week and this week. My kids are spending some time with their Nana and Poppy back in my hometown in the country here in Victoria, and they're having a great time. Today I have a day off from work and I thought it a great opportunity to film a Flosstube video. So here I am. I've got some notes and I think I've got 12 pieces. I'll have some plans at the end, so stick with me there if you're interested in seeing what I'm kind of planning for the rest of 2023. Can you believe that we are already headed towards October? That's it's a little bit overwhelming, isn't it? That this year has flown by so quickly, and I know everybody's starting to express that as well. It does, yeah, time just flies. Christmas, hey, it's time to start thinking and turning our minds to Christmas stitching. I haven't done that in the past, but I think I'm going to turn my mind to that soon as well. Anyway, grab some stitching or a drink or get cozy, whatever you like to do while you watch Flosstube. I'm going to just kick off and show you what I have been working on. For a change, I actually don't have any new starts this video. That's quite unusual for me. I did go a little bit hectic last month for my birthday month and have made quite a bit of progress on some of those pieces. So no new starts for me, but I do have a lot to show you. So if you've been here before, you will know that I love Carolyn Manning designs, one of my favorite designers, and I have 7 whips of hers on the go. Today I'm going to actually show you 4 of those. So this is my Carolyn Manning segment that I like to refer to it as. So number 1, we have Grandma's Lilacs. This is what it's going to look like when it is finished. I started this in late July for Barb at Stitch Brat's birthday. She's here on Flosstube and Instagram. Go and have a look because she is one of my stitchy faves, one of my good friends. I think she's a bit further ahead on this than I am. I stitch all of my Carolyn Manning designs on 18 count generally. All Aida. I prefer Aida for my Carolyn Manning designs. So this is on 18 count Aida and we are 4.13%. So here's the first one. Not very far, but these are actually quite large pieces. They're from the Shooting Star collection. They're around 35,000 and I think this one has about 23 colors. I put in 474 stitches and I'll tell you a bit of a funny story. So the very center here, I like a center start, as you'll learn. This purple here, okay, so this light, this one here. I was stitching away, and then it popped up again down here. And I thought, oh, that's not actually the same color. So I went and did a bit of digging. Turns out it's not the same color. And it's not even one from the chart. I don't know how I managed it, but somehow I have put in a random purple in the center there. Anyway, I decided that I quite liked it and I'm just going to keep it, and mine will be unique, right? That's what our stitching is all about. I'm really enjoying this one actually. I've kind of got a bit of a vision to go and bring out the 4 points and then stitch the border. And then that gives me scope to go wherever I want because they are symmetrical pieces. So you do stitch each of these sections 4 times. So that's Grandma's Lilacs. I love greens and purples. They're two of my favourite colours, particularly when I'm stitching. So this piece is going a bit quicker than my other shooting stars in terms of progress. So that's my first whip for today. Next I have another Carolyn Manning Designs on 18 count Ada. Actually, yes, no, 18 count. This is Glow Up, and I started this recently with Angie, Slowly Crafts. She's on here at Flosstube, on Flosstube and Instagram as well. And we do a few games as well. I highly recommend Angie at Angie Slowly Crafts. Don't know why I keep putting the ats in, but anyway, you know what I mean. I will link these people down below if you are interested in exploring their channels. Here is my Glow Up. I actually am really pleased with how this one is stitching up. It's quite simple. It's a smaller one that I have. In fact, it's the smallest. It's 12,000, I think, stitch count. I put in 468 stitches and I'm at 15.87% already. So let's bring that in, because there's quite a lot of white in here, so you might not be able to see that completely. And I don't think you'll get the full effect of the white until all the colours surrounding it have been stitched. But this one is so bright and colourful, and it's got a really unique border. It's got that little, if you can see there, the alternating green and pink. So that's not something that I've had in any of my other Carolyn Mannings, and I'm quite enjoying that. Then with a white and a black. So there's 5 rows of the border. Yeah, so this one's stitching up really quickly, and I was actually having a bit of a chuckle with Dylan, my partner, aka Stitch Stats Boy. This might actually be my first finish, which would be pretty funny because it's one of my most recent starts. What have we got next? Okay, this one is probably familiar to most of you. It is Carrot Cake. I started this in 2021, stitching it with Barb at Stitch Brat. She was been working on hers recently, so I was inspired to pull mine out again. I kind of had a little bit of an idea of a finish on this one this year, but that's really fallen by the wayside. Working out the numbers now, I think I've lost track of that. But nevertheless, it would be nice to continue to work on it and see what happens next year. I've just got a bit of fluff there. That's what it's going to look like. And I'm stitching it on an 18 count Ada as well, but this one's actually a natural Ada. So not the white like the other two. And this is where I'm at now. I've only put in 216 stitches. And I'm at 47.83%, so I'm really, really looking forward to hitting that 50% mark now and going down the downhill slope. The last time I posted it, this little part of the border here, I haven't actually joined together yet. I was going to finish it, but I made a decision to leave that until the end at this stage, because when I pick it up, I get a little confused as to where I'm at. Which way it goes because of the symmetrical nature of these shooting star whips. So I've actually left that top corner there so that I can easily just pick it up and know exactly which angle, which is the top, which is the bottom. And I'm finding that really useful actually. So I'm going to leave that, but I'll bring it in and show you the richness of these stitches. So it's good because I know you're all heading into fall on the other side of the world there. We're headed into spring. Well, we're in spring, aren't we? And you're in fall. So this is really good because you're all bringing out those autumnal tones that I can contribute to, even though we're headed into summer. Oh, another interesting thing is when you look at mine and Barb's on Instagram, they are a little different. Mine has slightly different orange tones, I think, and I do have anchor subs in mine, so I think that might be what's causing the slight subtle differences in the color palettes. I love this one though, so yeah, I think I'll leave this one out and keep stitching on it. at least to get it over that 50% mark. I can't believe I actually thought I was going to finish that one this year. Okay, next one is my travel piece, which I actually hope to get quite a lot more stitching done on in the next few months, or maybe even years, because my eldest daughter Willow is going to get braces next month. Watching Suki, the brown-eyed stitcher, she often says how much progress she gets on her travel piece when she's with her daughter at the orthodontist as well. So I think I'll be joining you there, Suki. She's another one that I thoroughly enjoy watching, actually. I'll link her below. And if you haven't checked out her bookshelf, her Amy Stewart bookshelf, I highly recommend it. It is breathtaking. Just phenomenal. And when she shows it, like the full piece off of her scroll rods, it is amazing. And I can't wait to see it finished. So yeah, highly recommend checking out Suki. Back to my travel piece. This is Unicorn. So my final Carolyn Manning designs that I'm going to show you today. I'm actually stitching it as 4 separate pieces, a piece for each of me and my 3 daughters. And I generally swap them out. So last video, I showed you this particular one. So this is where I'm at. And this is actually on a 20 count Ada. So I made a bit of progress on this one. I put in 802 stitches, and then I have been working on this one for a little bit, so I decided to swap out probably mid-September, and I pulled out this one instead. So I've been working to try and pull in this corner here, and you can see a little bit of a difference on the 20 count. The stitches are a bit tighter. I really like the effect. So I'm actually at 53.76% total on this piece now, and I'm curious to see which one I end up finishing first. I think I've got a rough idea now as to whose is who in my head. As I've been stitching them, each girl has sort of expressed a preference over one or the other at times, and I sort of thought how that would sort of, listen to how that would go. And I think I've been working on this piece now for just under 2 years, and their thoughts seem to remain consistent. So I think I'm locking that down in my mind now. Interestingly, the story I told you earlier about my grandma's lilacs, would you believe has also happened to this one? So I was on the train. I stitched this one, my travel piece, a lot on the train to and from work. I work in the Melbourne CBD. And I was just thinking about the error I'd made on Grandma's lilacs, and I was looking at it, and then I looked at the pattern, and would you believe, I kid you not, that orange in there, which I think is a DMC 20, in the very center, the center again, it's not the right color. But it is actually part of the chart this time. I don't know how I managed that. And would you believe, like, I stitched that probably well over 12 months ago, that center on that one. And I've always been thinking how fabulous it looks. So again, I'm going to leave it one of a kind. And this has also got anchor subs in it too. So yeah, I don't know which one's further ahead actually out of these two. Oh, they're much of a muchness, aren't they? What do you think? Yeah, really much of a muchness, but you can really see the, oh, they look so pretty together, don't they? I don't know if I'm going to maybe hang them, I'm going to frame them separately, but I might hang them together as our little unicorn collection, and then, you know, over the years they can take that with them if they want it. Okay, that's my Carolyn Manning segment. Next, I'm going to move on to just some bits and pieces before I'll finish up with my Stitch Me Saying Wow segment. That is my Wall of Women. For those of you who are new here, I generally do that every Flosstube, and I have a collection of women that I'm stitching, so stand by for that. But in the meantime, I've got a variety of other pieces. Generally, I'm a full coverage stitcher, big whips, but I've got a bit of everything. I've got all the types of fabrics as well. So the next one, this one is a much larger piece. This is like 200,000 plus stitch count, and it's by a designer, Electric City Stitches, over on Instagram. I think her store is actually on Etsy, Julia. It's called Sanctus. This is what it's going to look like when it's finished, and it has a killer amount of 939 in it. This is where I'm at. I only put in 100 stitches, which is a little, I don't even know why I'm showing you, but hey, 100 stitches is 100 stitches, and every stitch counts, right? So this is where I'm at. This is on a 20 count aider. So you might have seen in the picture that this corner is solid 939. So when I first started, I actually did my own gridding and blocked off on Pattern Keeper 10 by 10 squares in 939 so that I could get to the good stuff and come back to these squares individually later in my own time, bit by bit, when I just wanted a bit of relaxing block stitching and not have to think too much. So this is, 20 count aider 2/1, and it's at, where are we at on this one? 5.90%. So I'll bring that in a little bit. It's also got anchor subs in it, but you can see the blending now starting to take shape in those swirls. And I'm really happy with the coverage of the 939 using the 2 threads on the 20 count. You can see my blocks there. And I just go back and fill them in when I feel like it. To give you some perspective, as I said, this is a big stitch count and it's a 20 count aider. So this one is really big in terms of the size of the fabric. And I've got a huge border, huge edge down there. I don't know, I was getting very generous with my fabric when I started this. I've been working on this one too for at least 2 years, I would say. Yeah, so that one is Sanctus, 100 stitches. I do pull it out every now and then. It'll get some more love. Okay, next one is, this is my Historical Houses sale that I started with Barb at Stitch Brat. We have a lot of pieces going together. This is from the Olga Gostin Australian Heritage Architecture Collection. It was a DMC kit. Actually, no, it wasn't a DMC kit. This was just a chart that I got. I did kit this one on myself, but I have a whole bunch of kits in this range. And they very much remind me of different styles of architecture that you can find here in Melbourne. I think this knowing this very house, you could probably drive down any street and queue and spot something very similar. So yeah, I've got a working copy in here, and I really like these charts because they come like as a kind of a folder, and then you can pop all your bits and pieces in there. So that's really useful. It's not a huge piece, well, for me, compared to the last one that I showed you. It's certainly, this one though, has got a lot of detail. So we've got French knots over here, which I am running from, as you'll see. I mean, just the fence alone, all of these little, you know, florals in there. And then the back stitching is, whoo. Oh, and the sky's all half stitches, and there's lots of half stitches and bits and pieces going on. So you do have to concentrate. Well, I find I have to concentrate. It does keep me on my toes. And would you believe there's like 40 colors in this, and the color changes to get the effect in those bricks. Wow. But this is where I'm at. Oh, yes. It's starting to look a little like a house. That's a bit exciting. It's on a 20 count aider, I believe. 2/1. I'll just bring that in for you. Look at the stained glass window. So I actually worked on this one for the Pick a Whip challenge. Barb and I have a jar going on, and every week she picks a prompt that we've put in there. This one was for flags or patriarchy, and I don't really have any. I think, was it flags? Something like that. Anyway, This was my only Australian piece, so. Sorry, just had a little distraction there. So what was I saying? Yes, so this was for the pickle whip, and it was for flag, I think. Anyway, I needed something Australian, and this was all I could find in my in my whip collection. So there we have it. This one is actually called Queen Anne. So I think there's 12 or 14 in the collection. I have maybe 8 at this stage. I'm keeping an eye out. It would be nice to have the collection, but you can see the color changes needed there for the bricks and all of the timber work. Yeah, so that's my Historical Houses cell, Queen Anne. I don't think I put in a whole load of stitches. 230, every stitch counts. Okay, oh goodness, yeah, this one I've actually worked on quite a bit. So I can't remember what originally, oh yes I can. So it was for my Wheel of Stitches. Alicia at Adventures of Stitching selected this one for me, and I had to put in 500 stitches this month. It's Starry Night by Van Gogh. Here it is. It's actually a Joy Sunday kit, but it's not copyrighted. I'm enjoying it. And I got the 500 stitches in really early on this month, and for some reason I just kept on working and working and working. And then I'm also contributing to the Fine Art Friday sale, yeah, that Nancy Bohemian Stitchery and Megan at Stitching Moon have going on Instagram. And this is where I'm at. I got to the edge over here, so I finally made it there. Excuse all my park threads. You'll notice that I love a park thread. That's how I roll, and I tend to sort of work out on my full coverages, and when I get to a point where there's nothing else to sort of benchmark off, I'll park the thread, get another one, work out, and then, you know, if I start working on my park threads, it means that I've got progress because I can continue out. And then I like to work all over the place as well, so I just stop and start everywhere. But would you look at this? I've made it to the edge, and I think it kind of is starting to look a little like something. So let's bring that in. The confetti in this is absolutely full on. It's a kit. I put in 1,341 stitches. It's paper chart though, so I don't keep track of the percentage. So there you have it, The Starry Night by Van Gogh. And I think I'm probably at maybe at least 15% now. It's a smaller piece, 35,000, 32,000, something like that. Yeah. So I didn't actually use the kit fabric. I think it was like a 14 count, and I don't really enjoy big full coverages on 14 count. Not that this is big, but I don't stitch a lot on 14 count. Okay, so from here on in, these get really big. This next one is the Big Pig. How appropriate was that leading into this next one? It's a Heaven and Earth design. I'm stitching it on 28 count linen 1/1, and this is what it's going to look like. I'm stitching this for Dylan. He loves this one, and I think it's one I'm going to have to keep on a hoop and just work on gradually, bit by bit. It's 262,000, but there's a lot going on. There's so much confetti to get that effect in that fur. I have to concentrate, and there's so many light and pale colors. I'm coming into the top of the pig's head now. So this is where I'm at. And I started in the center top. So this is the start of the bookshelf at the top, and this is this sort of outline here of the top of the pig's head. So that's where we're at. and I have put in 779 stitches and I'm at 1.74%. Let's bring that in. I've also got anchor subs in this piece as well. You can see the detail going on to get the writing and the effect. I've got so many little stitches I've still got to fill in, but you can start to see the bookshelf, I think. I hope you can too, because I certainly can when I step back. Yeah. So it's very big. I don't mind a full coverage on linen. I know it has slubs, but this linen is fantastic. It's really thick. It doesn't have chunky slubs. And because these are such large pieces, ultimately when you stand back on a 28 count, you're not going to notice a tiny little slub or something like that running through it. So no, I'm quite happy with the linen on a full coverage. I have like, I think maybe I'm at 7 Heaven and Earth designs now. Just looking here, I have another one to show you as well. But that's the end of, let's call it miscellaneous items. And we're going to move on to Stitch Me Saying Wow now. First one I'm going to show you is Midnight Poppy. This is one I'm stitching as an extreme cross country. And I've chosen good old 310 to start with on this one. I've actually got a cone of doom, which I haven't cracked open yet because I've got so many skeins of 310 just floating around. So trying to sort of work through using all them up, and then I'll probably just use the cone moving forward for all my 310 needs. So yeah, this is Extreme Cross Country. I started in the center, and it was for another Pick a Whip challenge where it would stitch all the 310, so this one was definitely the appropriate choice. And I put in, where are we, 694 stitches. Oh, and I finally made the official 1%. It's a big piece, it's over 200,000. So this is where I'm at, and this is her face. So you can see the contour here starting to come in of her face. And so yeah, I just keep a thread there. I actually, when I was pulling this out, so I just keep a little bit of 310 and I just fold it up, keep it somewhere, put it on a hoop whenever I want to just put in a few stitches. And I guess from a full coverage stitching perspective, do you know how easy that is? I'm not going to have to add any threads to this one for years, because the 310 is, I think there's like 74,000 stitches or something like that, and I'm only at 1%. But it will be really, really fun to see this one come together. It's from a fantastic designer over on Instagram, Contemporary Cross, and the artwork is Emmy Mustonen. There's actually a cell, any Emmy cell, I think it's called. I hashtag everything for these cells over on Instagram. Come and follow along with me if you like. I'm really quite active over there, and I do post a lot of my progress throughout the month. Okay, so that one was Midnight Poppy Fields. I actually have a companion piece to that called Crimson Blossom and Tangerine Sky, and I'm also stitching that one Extreme Cross Country, but I started with the 939 on that one, but they're about level in terms of progress because the other one is way bigger and is actually my biggest whip and sits around the 350,000, I think. Okay, this is the other Heaven and Earth designs that I was going to show you today. It's on a 28 count Lugana, which I really enjoy working on, 1/1. It's this one, Arrival to Spring, which is so appropriate given we're in spring here now in Melbourne. I'm actually stitching this one for my mum. I did originally tell her it was going to be for her next milestone birthday. I don't think that's going to happen, but I can try. I actually had this one as my Wheel of Stitches challenge this month. Angie Slowly Crafts selected it for 2K stitches, and I haven't quite finished that, and I'm probably going to have to ride the time difference and get a little extra time because I'm not quite there, but I'll make it. I'm definitely over 1K. I've put in actually 1,175 stitches to be precise, and I did hit the 3% mark. This is where I'm at now. So you can see this is her mouth, her nose, chin, just to give you a bit of context of what you're looking at. I think it's really starting to come in there, and she's starting to look a little like something. So this is probably her ear over here and all that hair. The bird down the bottom of the chart actually starts about here. So I'm getting to the point where I can start to work on multiple different things. I can keep going with the face. I can come down and do a bird. I can get right into her hair and then hit that bird's nest. So that's pretty fun. And I'm not far off the 10K stitch mark on this one, which I feel is when you really start to sort of see something on these bigger whips. I'll just bring it in for you so that you can see the shading that takes effect in these big pieces. I think this one's got 90 colors and the tiny stitches. This one's really fun to work on, and the color palette's actually quite beautiful. There's a lot of like purpley grays. Yeah, Mum loved it. I sent her a photo of where I was at. She's like, wow, that's looking fantastic. Oh, it's got years to go yet, Mum, but we're getting there. It's a piece of black fluff there. And yeah, I think I'm just going to sort of keep working for now on the contour here to try and really define her nose and her mouth, because that looks fantastic. Okay, where are we at? I'm doing great for time. My videos have been getting quite long there for a while, but I actually haven't worked on as many pieces as I typically do, I don't think, which has enabled me to really put some solid progress into some, so that's good. And the no new starts would have helped. I'm not forgetting that point. All right, this next one is the one that I put the most progress into actually. 1,850 stitches. It's Delphine, and it's by Kaylee Tent Stitch from the sewing shop in Canada. Her pieces are amazing. I have 3 of them. This is just one. I think this is the one that's the most furthest along now. Yes, I think it is. Okay, so I went for the center start again. This is 28 count, the same linen that I'm using for the big pig actually. 1/1, and this is where I'm at. So I, as I said, started in the center. Let me just fold that a bit better so that we can get a better look at the detail. I've got a lot of part threads on this one at the moment actually. Okay, so that's her neck and her chin. And then I've started working on her lips just there. But there is a lot of blending going on, in a lot of shading going on here. A lot of colors already in here. I think there's about 120 odd colors. And in fact, for this piece, I thought it would be cool to show you my my thread cards and how I work. Would you look at those colors? Like, they are just delicious, aren't they? Oh, they're beautiful colors. I don't have all the threads on here either. So what I do is I cut up cereal boxes and then I punch holes in, and then I order the numbers, and I just go and get all the threads from my DMC master set. And that's how I kit my big full coverages. So this has got 4 thread cards, so you can see that this one's got quite a lot of colors in it. And then I generally just sort of like stick them in, fold it up, and pop them in a number of different bags that I have sitting near where I stitch my bigger full coverage pieces in the lounge. Yeah, so I thought I'd just show you how compact I've sort of over time made the ease of pulling out of big full coverage, because they do look a little bit overwhelming. So literally you can get it to the point where, you know, you've just got a needle minder, pop your needle on, grab your your thread cards if you've got a master set. If you don't, I understand that's where it gets a little bit difficult, and it has taken time for me to build, and I don't actually have a full master set, actually, flagging that now. I'm not far off it, and I just build on it each time I need a new color or something like that. I also, over the time, have bought a lot of secondhand threads, which has really built my stash. And if you're looking at aiming to have a master set, I would recommend that, because there's a whole load of colors out there that are not very frequently used. So I don't really see the point in, you know, spending all of that money. DMC is not cheap. The alternative is using the cheaper options that are, you know, fantastic alternatives such as CXC. And in fact, I actually own a full set of CXC, which I have not yet started. That's just reminded me, and I really need to find a project to start because I really want to try them out. Anyway, I digress. The point is, I just use cereal boxes, and there's a particular brand, Uncle Toby's, that I really like that work. The cardboard works because it's still white, not the you know, like the brown recycled version, so you can write quite easily on them, and that really works for me. You don't use, you know, this is going to take me years to get through these threads anyway. Sometimes I need to replace the more commonly used colors, but that's how simple I kind of lug around my full coverages. So we'll just check out Delphine again, because I am loving her. It'll be good to get her looking like something. So I anticipate probably around the 10K stitch mark, because I think we've just hit 7 on this one. Okay. All right, this is, oh. I just realized I forgot to show you a piece because it's still on a hoop. I have a terrible habit of doing that. I did it last video too. So I'll show you my final Stitch Me Saying Wow piece, and then we'll just go back to the final piece that I forgot to show you. Okay, I showed you this piece last video. I was really proud to have brought it back into my WIP collection because I sought consent from the actual artist who painted this painting to continue working on her chart. And it is what I call Hummingbird. And I put in 383 stitches, and we're now at 26.07%, which I'm pretty pleased with. It's on an 18 count aider, and here this is what she's going to look like when she's finished, so you have a little bit of an idea. And you saw her eye, and here she is now. I love her. She's looking so good. So 18 count, 2/1. I have a couple of page finishes on her already. And this one has like, I think we've got 15 blended threads in this, which is where you get one of one color, one of another, put them together and stitch at the same time to give you a blended effect. It's fantastic, especially on full coverage, but it is time consuming. And can get a little bit, you just need to pay a bit more attention, I guess. But yeah, look at that bird and the detail in that wing there. Oh, that's so good. Excuse my chipped fingernails. Look at her eye. Oh, it's just so realistic. I love her eye. I love working on this one now because she kind of looks at me, and I've got a bit of a relationship with her. I'm sure other people develop relationships with their WIPs as well. Yeah, so I'd love to make some more progress on her. So that's my Hummingbird. And she's 90,000 stitches in total. So I'm getting close, I think, to the 25K stitch mark on her, which is a bit exciting. Maybe I'm past that, I can't quite recall, but yeah, she's got a lot of progress for my full coverage pieces. Lucky last, the one that I had on the hoop that I forgot to show you because I lost track of my notes. This one is Golden Ratio, and I started it for my birthday month starts last month in August. I'm stitching this one for Dylan. This is what it's going to look like. It is, oh, who is the chart by? Stitches So Beautiful on Instagram. And I decided to ditch the background. So I'm not stitching the 939, which is the entire background, the corner sort of. I'm going to stitch into the piece, but that actual defining circle of the 939, I'm scrapping. And I've already started doing that on Pattern Keeper. So would you believe I am at 41.36%? Well, but I'm stitching it on a navy 8er. So I went with a 25 count Lugana, 1/1. And this is where I am at now. And it's still on the hoop. And I have 11 color finishes already because you can see the detail here. It's got over 100 colors, this one, and it's only a 40,000 stitch count. So that gives you a bit of comprehension once I remove the 939, the intensity and confetti and of those individual colors. But to give it that detail, ooh. So yeah, that one's really fun. And I like the 25 count 1/1 on navy. I think that the coverage is gorgeous. So it's not that big. I'll give you, see, I think this one is going to look amazing. And I should be at 50% pretty quickly because I've still got a few thousand of the 939 to remove. And yeah, I like this one. Dylan likes seeing this one take shape too. It takes shape pretty quickly compared to some of the other ones. Ooh. Except I get a bit confused with the angle because of the circle. And my Bluey Needle Minder Australian cartoon, highly recommend. That's it. Okay, that's my stitching. That's what I have been working on for the month of September. So I'll talk now a little bit about my plans for October. So I was watching Nancy, Bohemian Stitchery. I'll link her down below. She's a fellow Aussie. She's got some amazing pieces and a lot of variety as well. I highly recommend you go watch Nancy. I don't think she's at 1K subs and she absolutely should be. So shout out, you know, if you're looking for someone new to watch, you love the Aussie accent, I highly recommend her. Anyway, I was watching her and she was raving about this Facebook game that she's been playing with a group, Semi-Sane Stitches, which is pretty funny because I'm Stitch Me Sane. So I jumped on board and I've joined a puzzle game that's starting on the 1st of October. I'm in a team. Thank you, Nancy, for arranging that for me. And it looks really fun. Basically, you just got to stitch, and post photos and share and essentially try and work out a full puzzle board. So that'll be fun to see how I go in October with that. Angie and Alicia and I we haven't sorted our wheel stitches for October, but we will. I have a feeling we will. So I've still got to finish off my 2K stitches for arrival to spring. And what else am I planning? Oh, the big one. Oh, have we seen the sale that Carolyn Manning Designs has released? The Flower Month sale, or I can't even remember what she's calling it. Go have a look on Instagram. At first I was like, no. And then I kept looking and thinking and realizing that each of the blocks was 6,000 odd stitches. And anyway, a few weeks before she released that, I was in a craft store in the city. And there was just this random bolt of 18 count light pink Ada. And it was really cheap. So I bought a massive chunk, put it in my cupboard and thought, I'm sure one day I'll find a use for that. And then she released the sale and then I thought, it'd be great to stitch them all together on one piece of fabric. And then I was like, I've got that light pink that I just purchased, which would be perfect. So here it is. I'm putting it out there. Anyone else jumping on board? 18 count Ada, light pink. Here's my fabric. I've signed up. I'm ready to go. Kicks off the 1st of November. So I'm going to be ready for that. And I'm really excited because by doing it all on the one piece of fabric, if I outlay the borders each month, because let's get real, I don't think I'm going to achieve the full block each month. then I have the freedom to go over anywhere, and there's so many colours, and I'm not going to throw in any spoilers, but I'm super excited. So yeah, I'd be curious to see who else is going to jump on board. I think that's about all I really have. I'm also considering starting a kit. Actually, I'm definitely going to start a kit probably this month. Got a couple of dimensions options, haven't quite locked down exactly which one, but I'm itching for a new start given I didn't have one this month. But I'm trying to sort of wrap up the rest of the year with the starts that I did have kind of on my mind, rather than tracking down new ones. And then leading into Christmas, I'm thinking I'm going to make a start on one of the Shannon Christine patterns, which I've been looking forward to doing for some time. And other than that, yeah, weather's warming up. Girls are having a great time. School holidays end the end of this week, so routine will be back in place. Basketball training and school and all those things. I've got a public holiday here on Friday, so I've actually got a really short week this week, which is pretty cool. And after I finish editing this video, I've also got to finish building a dressing table that I'm building for my eldest daughter. And let me tell you, she selected one that has like every drawer possible, all the little drawers. And we all know what that's like, building flat packs. I can do it, but I really need to concentrate, and the instructions they're never the best. So yeah, that's on my to-do list as well. And work's going well, really enjoying it, always do, but very busy. Yeah, thank you for sticking around and watching me today. As I mentioned, I'm also on TikTok, and sometimes my content can be different according to my platform and how I'm feeling on any given day. So yeah, I'd love to see you over there as well. And I hope to film again come 4 weeks, maybe even earlier, depending on how my schedule plans out, with some progress. And yeah, maybe a new start or two. So thank you so much for joining me, and happy stitching, everybody. See you soon.